Hi, it's GTO Courses, and welcome to this lesson of the .NET Developer series, in which we will cover the most relevant topics to become a .NET developer. So hit subscribe button and the bell to see new videos on our channel. Okay, let's go. In this lesson, we will learn about modeling during application development. Also, we'll go through such things as classes and objects to understand their purpose and features. Okay, what is modeling in software development? When computer programs are created, the program code is not just an infinite set of instructions that we throw at computer one by one. So it will be difficult to understand the program because most of the time the programmer reads the code and he writes it only when it's necessary. So lack of structured code makes it hard to reuse certain instruction sets. For example, we have a certain algorithm for processing customer data that looks like this, like load data, filter data, show result. If we need this block of code in several places, then we will have to copy it again and again without being able to reuse it. And if the customer of our application now wants to add a function to sort the data, then we will need to revise all this jumbled code and find all the places where we copied and pasted this three instruction and add the fourth to them. And the worst thing is that we can miss one such place and now our program will work with an error. That's why the concept of modeling is used. Modeling is the method of studying objects of knowledge, like phenomena, devices, processes, which is based on the replacement of the specific object of research with another similar to it. Thus, we transfer things from the real business process to a desired action algorithm to objects of software code. For example, when we create an application of a bank, we'll create a customer model and card account model that a customer can have, and a deposit model, a money transfer model, and so on. Thus, our program will no longer be just a set of instructions, but a process of interaction of program models with each other. And when we create these models and gave them characteristics and action that they can perform, we don't need to constantly repeat them, but we can simply reuse these models, their data and behavior where we need it. And if something needs to be changed in their behavior or data, we will go to that only place where we created this model. And another example, we are creating a racing game in which we want to present a car model. To do this, we simply analyze what a real car has, what characteristics and behavior it has, and then create a model of that car in our game. So the car has a manufacturer's brand, certain model, name, color. All these are characteristics of the car, but it also has a certain behavior. It can drive, stop, turn. In this way, modeling makes it easier for us to understand the program and organize it. And objects and classes. In C Sharp, classes and structures are used to model program objects. For a simple understanding of the difference between a class and an object of a class in C Sharp, we can represent a class as a blueprint of our certain object. And an object is when an instance is made according to this blueprint. For example, we have a chair class, and it's like a blueprint. And when we made a real chair based on this blueprint, then in the C Sharp language, we made an object of this chair class. And we can make many such chairs, changing their size, color, material as needed. But the blueprint of the chair will be the same, and only certain characteristics of the specific chairs will change. Creating a specific object of a class in C Sharp refers to allocating memory and writing it to that specific instance of the class. And I want to remind you, the program is not magic, and neither are the classes. So before a computer can use the object of our model with its data and behavior, it must be placed in the computer's memory so that it can read all the characteristics and use the behavior of the object of our class. You can't sit on a blueprint of a chair. To sit on a chair, you have to take materials and make the real one. Same is for the world of computer programs. A class in C# language is kind of container that we fill with everything we need. It looks like this. Inside, we can have a constructor that creates an object of its class, fields that store some information about the class, properties that also store some information, but also have auxiliary functions that can set and get that info, methods they needed to do something useful, some action for this object. To create an instance of a class in C Sharp, we use the new keyword and then call the constructor. In the example above, we created a new object of the order class and stored it in the variable named class object. The var keyword here simply means that it is a variable and that's it. But what is a variable and why did we write the object of our class there? Well, imagine that a variable is just a container in the memory that stores what we write there. We can create an object and do not write it to a variable, and computer will create a new object for us, but it will not save it and our work will be useless. We can pour water, but if we want to drink, we pour water into a cup, not spill it on the ground. This cup that holds water so that we can drink it later, it's our variable. Now, when we refer to the variable, we refer to what is written there. In our case, to the instance of the order class. In C Sharp, we refer to the fields, properties, or methods of an instance with a dot. In the end of the method call, there are double parentheses because this is the syntax how we call methods in C Sharp. Static classes. As we have already said in C# language, if you want to use some class, we need to first make it a real object of this class, and only then perform certain action with it. All fields, properties, and methods of such class instances will be the same, but since they occupy different places in the memory, each of them may have different values of these fields or properties. However, sometimes we need a class itself to store certain data. To do this, we mark this field or property with a static modifier. And now, the class itself will be able to hold certain information because the compiler will allocate memory to store this static information. For example, we want to know how many objects of this class currently exist in the system. To do this, we will create a quantity property of type int and mark it with the static modifier to make it static. Now, in the constructor of the class, we can increase the value of the quantity property by 1. Don't be surprised with that plus plus operator. In C Sharp, it just means add 1. Now let's create several objects of the example class. And now we will find out what is the value of the quantity class property. And it will be free here because all three objects were created through the class constructor and it increased the value of the static property 3 times by 1. An important point, we cannot refer from an instance to a static class member. This is because the memory of the instance is allocated separately, and the memory for the static member of the class is allocated separately. Therefore, we can refer to the static member only by referring through a class directly. We can also make the whole class static. A static class can contain only static members. Yeah, those marked with a static modifier. The static class does not need to be made into an object before using it. This is because the compiler, when it executes our program and sees that we refer to a static class or any of its members for the first time, allocates memory for it, and it will now be in the memory the entire time our program is running. Unlike normal class object, which lives in the memory only as long as reference to it are still used. Therefore, static classes should be used very carefully. Okay, this is all for this lesson. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell not to miss the following videos in the series. Feel free to leave a comment and like this video. And also, I encourage you to help brave people in Ukraine to defend themselves in this horrible war. Please use QR code or links in the description to visit charitable foundations that help Ukraine. Thanks. See you in the next videos.